We're rolling.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 47. 47, Bo.
Holy cow, you're catching up to my age. Soon we'll be at 53.
Episode 47 of the Jiu Jitsu Dummies podcast, sponsored by Fightback CBD. Get 20% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. My name is Milton Campus. Hello, everybody. I'm a purple belt out of Fight Sports Coral Springs. You can check me out on Instagram. You can check me out on Instagram at Uncle Milty BJJ. We got Bo, the comedian, behind the camera. Say hello, Bo.
Hello.
Huge shout out to Flow and Roll. Love you guys for all you do. Sean, we appreciate you. At Flow_N_Roll on Instagram. Get 20% off your online t-shirt, rash guard, or gi order with code JJD at flowandroll.com. I believe he still does this. If you order a belt, they do the embroidery automatically, I believe. So you get to choose it. But really cheap, super inexpensive. He's the guy that sends out the belts to our winners when to people who donate to the foundation. So they're doing it for us there too as well. So DD214, you got a shot of my shirt, Bo, right? You got the whole thing? Murder pajamas and fanny packs. Thank you, guys. DD214 Fightwear at DDD. You laughing?
It's funny shirt.
At DD214_Fightwear. Gear for the war on PTSD. Love it. Get 15% off your online order at DD214BJJ.com. Please check out their new Soul Armor Memorial Day gi. We're actually going to show you a little bit about it right now. Check this out.
It's amazing how something as mundane as the stroke of a pen can change your life forever. The moment you sign your name to your enlistment contract, you embark on a journey both as an individual and as a member of a team. The trials and tribulations experienced in uniform both lift you up and tear you down. Then one day you've completed your service, it's time to sign your DD214. With the stroke of a pen, you're now a civilian, leaving behind an identity. All at once, you go from living by a schedule to becoming a prisoner of your own freedom. Every day is an individual battle to figure out who you are now and where do I belong. For years, you've only known a life of sacrifice, embracing discomfort. For my brothers and sisters who have shown me the shortness of life, I will train, I will evolve, and I will fight my demons because you fought for me.
Pretty cool, everybody, right? Go check that out. Link is in the bio. We also want to thank Retro Grappler. We'll be collaborating with Chris. He's an awesome designer. We're going to be collaborating with him on some rash guards. We're going to take our little Mike character, our Jiu Jitsu Dummies Mike character. We're going to put it on a gi. We're working on that right now. But you can check them out at Retro Grappler Shop and retrograppler.com. Huge shout out to this guy, Nick Ron over at Warriors Next Adventure. Thank you for supporting the show. They were here a couple of podcasts ago. We got to train with him. They are a veteran nonprofit, and they're filming a documentary called PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu. He is still traveling the country right now, even after the bus broke down, little mini bus. He went back home, got his truck, and he's traveling the country again. It's going to be about 50 days total. Check out the website. Find out where he's going to be. Go to warriorsnextadventure.com. You can donate, or you can find out more information about the documentary. Again, it's PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu. There's a video there. It's really cool. Check him out. Donate if you can. Again, he's on the road as we speak. He could use all of your support. All right? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share wherever you're watching or listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click the bell on our page. Get notifications each time we launch new videos. All right? Anything else, Bo?
We need cathedral sounding bells when you do that. So it's like bong, bong.
I don't think we're ready for that. I don't think your neighbors are ready for that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Let's get today's guests in here. Let's bring them in.
Let's do it.
Joining us today, well-known BJJ instructional content creator. He's one of the best out there right now, one of my favorites. Multiple-time IBJJF Gold medalist and black belt Alec Baulding. How you doing, Alec?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the patience. I find myself, I might as well just keep keep it going. I'm always apologizing for being a little late or we have something fucked up.
Hardy.
Yeah, appreciate you doing this, man. I mean, again, you've been doing this a lot longer than we have. So,
have I?
Probably, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years. How long have you been kind of doing your instructionals? I say instructionals. I'm including like the Instagram, YouTube stuff.
Well, I didn't start really doing that till maybe 2017. Like,
okay,
consistently.
Yeah. What really set it off for you? What were you doing stuff before? Like, was it like ADCC, the trials win? Was that like the point that set you off and got you more popular, or were you doing a lot of stuff before that? I mean, I've been training for 7 years. Probably just started following you in the last couple. But what really took off for you?
So I started taking my social media more seriously than like before I got more popular. So I had friends, other black belts that have more followers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like taking me aside and being like, "Hey, dude, you need to post on Instagram like in 2016 or earlier." They're like, "Hey, you need to be like doing this and that." And for me, I was like, "Yeah, I'll just win some tournaments and that'll make me popular." But like, I got to a point where I was like, it's not happening that way. So
yeah.
I think 2017, I just started making videos. So if you guys want to go back, I have a few like car videos. I'm in my car in the summer in Georgia, windows rolled up, so I have the good audio. So
yeah,
I would just do these weird little videos that nobody liked, but that's the beginning. That's how it all started for me.
Yeah, man, it's like one foot in front of the other, though. I mean, those things probably, right? We were talking about mics and things before. That's, some of the things that kind of get you going. You figure out what's working, what doesn't. Maybe I shouldn't shoot in my car. Maybe I should shoot here. Get into the studio, get on that. So let's go back even further than that. Let's, do the, how you got your start in jiu-jitsu or martial arts as a whole. Where did it begin for you?
So I started in Taekwondo. You kind of froze up on me a little bit.
Yep.
Keep talking.
We hear you. It froze up on this end too. I hope it wasn't because I hit the computer. We see you on our screen still.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll pop in, but we hear you. There you go. You're back.
I see you.
Okay.
Go ahead. So again, what got you started? How'd you get started in not only jiu-jitsu but martial arts?
So I started with Taekwondo, and I had a friend in high school. I knew he did martial arts, so I was kind of interested. And this is like, it's really funny that just the time period I grew up in, it was around the same time as the first Ultimate Fighter.
Ah.
So there's actually a lot of black belts that started around the same time as me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really interested in martial arts. Back then, I think YouTube had just come out. It was always like jiu-jitsu versus karate, jiu-jitsu versus Taekwondo, jiu-jitsu versus Muay Thai. So I was super interested in starting, but I didn't have a car. So Taekwondo was the closest place to my house. So that's how I got started. And then luckily I just happened to be in a city where there was jiu-jitsu. So if there wasn't jiu-jitsu in my city in Atlanta, I would have been screwed. So
yeah,
I ended up starting training under Team Alliance in Atlanta. And, from there it's history, just a lot of world champion instructors. So it's kind of hard not to get good.
So what age did you start?
I was about 15.
Okay.
So like still kind of like before I got a car and license and stuff. So I'm happy I started at 15 because it was like my decision. It was like, that was the first time I wanted to really do something versus like playing like basketball or football as a little kid where your parents kind of push you towards that.
Yeah.
So jiu-jitsu for me was like, or martial arts was like something I was like really into. My family didn't really understand it. So they just kind of,
you do in your pajamas, right?
Yeah. And it's so weird now because jiu-jitsu is cool. There's people in Hollywood doing it. it's mainstream now.
Yeah.
But back then, like, man, it was like Fight Club. The gym I first trained at was dirty and dark. There was all dudes, and it's just like no beginners class. It was just like, okay, man, go fight, man.
Yeah.
So it was rough, but I loved it.
Listen, trial by fire, man. It's never a bad thing, Got you to this point. So when did you get your black belt?
I got mine. I had some breaks in mine, but I got mine, I think when I was 25 or 26.
Yeah. Was that, I think I saw somewhere, is that 2015?
Yeah, 2015. So about maybe 4 or 5 years of brown belt, that brown belt grind. So
4 or 5 years of brown belt. Oh boy.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Now, is that I mean, a lot of schools would do like anywhere from 1 to maybe 3 years at brown belt. I mean, I've seen as low as 1. Do you feel like I believe, and look, I'm happily a hobbyist. I will admit that, I'm 48. I'm going to be 48 next month. Started late, started at 41. Going to be 48 in June. So look, I've done a little bit of competing, not a lot. Stopped because I had some health issues, but I recognize that the female or even a male, whoever, I have a female in mind in my gym who's still a purple belt, who should probably be, because she's coaching, she's training every day, should probably already have her brown belt, is still a purple belt. I think there's a different track for somebody that's going to compete and a different track for somebody that is a little bit more of a hobbyist. Agree or disagree?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, I agree.
I think some people have tried to fight me on that point, and I've said, but really, like, I've seen people get their brown belts with a lot fewer days training. They don't compete at all. I do believe everybody should have their own journey, and their coach is going to help them decide what that journey is. But I definitely think, you're saying like the amount of time, would you say 5 years, 4 or 5 years at brown belt?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, was that partially because you were competing?
I'm sure it was a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the competition aspect of it.
Yeah. So how many years total from when you started to when you got your black belt? How long had you trained?
Probably 10 years. But
okay.
Say like I didn't take any breaks and whatever. It might have been a lot less, maybe 6.
Okay. All right. So
something like that, like something quick.
Okay. Because again, sometimes, your coach is going to be like, well, listen, I'm not going to throw you into to fire with these brown belts. I fought a guy one time that was a 26-year-old purple belt. I was in my 40s, and he'd been training since he was 16. Mm-hmm. So his purple belt was not the same as my purple belt, and I'm fighting this guy. I'm like, oh, boy. Took a beating that day. Left with a nice big purple mark on my nose from all the rubbing. But look, I again, some people have tried to fight me on that, but I mean, look, everybody's got their own journey. So when you have somebody come, you mentioned before about like, it was your choice to train. Do you see that a lot? Because you were also coaching. Do you see that a lot where parents are like, got to really push their kids into it? And is that kind of a bad idea? What's that advice to the parent?
I mean, it's rough. I mean, I think a lot of parents, a lot of the parents do jiu-jitsu a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can be the tougher ones because they're like, man, I wish I had started when I was, that age. So sometimes they can push their kids too hard. I feel like luckily I've been able to teach in different countries. So in America, I felt like it was more prevalent. Parents kind of pushing a little bit more and kind of coaching on the side and like, come on, dude. I didn't have too many issues with that. I was like, come on, dude. I know you don't know what you're talking about. When I taught in other countries, a lot of times the parents were just like, okay, just take over. You got it. I don't know what this is. You do it.
So where have you trained? I know I've heard you talk about Sweden. How the heck did that happen? Was it kind of school, like having an alliance out there, or you just decided to travel?
So if you guys know John Thomas, he's a good friend of mine. Okay. So he moved out there. It just kind of happened. We had some Swedish people come visit Atlanta to come train, and then just that connection. So John Thomas went out there, and then eventually, I think a few years later, maybe 2 or 3 years later, I was like, hey, I'm gonna come visit Sweden too. So we just developed a relationship that way. And then I ended up staying there for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So,
and where else have you traveled to other countries and trained or coached?
So that's a good upside to doing jiu-jitsu. Just, you can go to these different countries, and even if you don't speak the language there, like, you're going to be able to roll. You're going to understand the techniques, right? So, and we have all those international tournaments. So that really helped me just, hey, I'm going to do this tournament. Okay, I guess I'll go there a little bit earlier and then travel and train. So, yeah, I'm super lucky I don't even know how many countries I've been to. So
really? That's awesome. I'm jealous. So where are you now? You're coming to us from
Atlanta, GA.
Atlanta, GA. So you're here in the States. And what gym do you train and coach at?
I don't coach. Haven't been coaching.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
Yeah, I've not been coaching for about a year or so.
Well, because of the vid or?
Just a lot of things, but yeah.
Okay. Is that something you're going to continue to do though? You'll coach again?
I don't know, man. I'm so spoiled just doing everything online. Man, it's gonna be hard to drag me back to like teaching all the time. Yeah. But I just travel. I just train at my friends' gyms now. I have a good friend. If you guys watch some of my videos, cousin Tony, he's really into no-gi, so I'm always sharing stuff with him. I also train at my friend's gym in Gainesville, Georgia. C-Done. My buddy Jeff Cummings, I train with him. So I just go train with my friends now. So like I don't even worry about teaching. I just go have fun. shoot some Instagram reels. That's it. Yeah. I'm good.
So let's talk about COVID real quick. So is it COVID put you into this place where now, or were you already going to say like, I don't want to really coach anymore? Or was it the vid that put you in this position?
It was a little bit of both. I think just a lot of different factors. I don't think COVID helped. It didn't help at all, but look, I'm going to say, luckily, it just gave me that opportunity to have a break because I've been going, and I talked about getting my black belt in 2015. So I've been going maybe 2015 to 2020, just like as hard as I could go. Like that was like my whole black belt almost. Like as long as I've been a black belt, I've been going like hard, competing, training, teaching, traveling. So it was a really good time to take a break. Everything kind of slowed down. There wasn't any tournaments. There wasn't like, schools kind of slowed down too. So I just took that time off to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And, just it's easy to get into that routine. I know for myself, when I was teaching all the time, twice a day, 3 times a day, like I just got in such a schedule. I didn't really have time to think about like my life and what I wanted to do. So
yeah, so there's the love of jiu-jitsu and then there's the business of jiu-jitsu. Are you handling the business of jiu-jitsu on your own? Is it all you? Do you have anybody that helps out with putting up videos or, monitoring comments on YouTube and, or is it just you?
I do as much as I can, but I mean, obviously I have like people that help me, the people that are in the videos are helping me, sharing techniques with me. They're letting me film them. Yeah. I also have business mentors and friends. So, I mean, I have a lot of support. That's the only way I could do all this stuff and, be able to do it consistently. It's just, I have a good support system for myself. So
what kind of mentors do you have? Like just, like business mentors or jiu-jitsu or both, people that are doing similar things to that you're doing as well?
Everything, I have people I look for like guidance in business, dealing with contracts, dealing with, the business aspect of jiu-jitsu. We don't talk about too much. I have people on the creative side that are super creative, so I can pick their brain and see like where I should gear my content towards. I have people in jiu-jitsu that, they're showing me these cool techniques. Oh, I need to start working on this now. I need to watch out for these heel hooks now. So I'm everywhere, man. Wherever we can find help, just take it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the business side of jiu-jitsu here. So you're a very well known. You must know this. You are very well known for your. I found you more on Instagram than anything, but you have a very large YouTube presence as well. We talked about the car videos, but when did that really take off? When did you really say, this can be a business. I can make money from this. When did that really click for you?
It didn't click for a long time. Yeah. That's what I want people to understand. It wasn't like overnight, just success. It started with those car videos, and then like I just kept trying those, and I saw that, hey, it wasn't really doing that well. So then I started doing like more like, I think I started doing like breakdowns of videos of like tournaments and stuff,
Okay.
And then that didn't work so well. Then I started doing something else. So it wasn't just like one thing clicked overnight. It was just me trying different things. And then I think after ADCC, I was like, I better use this. Or after the trials in 2018, I was like, I better start like pumping myself up, because Flow Grappling wasn't like, hyping me up like some of these other guys.
Yeah.
So I was like, I better use whatever little bit of fame, whatever notoriety, whatever, like start using that now to bump up my social media, my seminars, my instructional. So I think ADCC was a big bump. And then I think the next year I happened to film a video, and I didn't want to do the video. It was like my back was kind of hurting, and like it was one of those days I couldn't even get like a white belt to help me be the partner. It's like, God, those were one of those rough days.
Yeah.
So I just got some guys like, hey man, just film me. And then I did like a little double leg, and then went to post that video. And then I think I was going home. I was in Sweden at the time, so I was going home for the first time in a few years. And so that happened to be like my biggest video. It was like a video I didn't plan on doing. I didn't really want to do. I didn't even think about. Yeah. So you can't really control when you're successful.
Yeah. I hear that a lot. It's like you could sit down and we spoke to Kendall Rusing recently, and she was like, I could post 30 videos, and I'm kind of, going to summarize kind of what she said, but I could think 20 of them are great, and the 30th is going to be the one that takes off, And so you hear that a lot. So these young, I guess, like everybody wants to be internet famous these days. I'm not going to include myself in that. This was never. We were Bo and I. We never looked at it. If I wasn't doing this, I would not be on Instagram and Facebook. I do. I love talking about jiu-jitsu.
You'd be on OnlyFans.
We stepped into this a little bit. It was just like, hey, man, I have some really cool conversations with my friends about jiu-jitsu. My wife said, hey, there's a guy that shoots podcasts in my office. You should do it there. I was shocked. I was just like, she hates jiu-jitsu. She hates my love of jiu-jitsu, or did at the time. And then her saying, and there was a place for me to do it. It was just like, she gave me the green light. I said, all right, cool. I'll get my friends together. We'll talk about jiu-jitsu. Got with my producer, Bo. We had worked together in the past. And, then we said, let's put out a couple a month. Let's not go too crazy. We were doing 2 a month until recently, and now we're in a new studio in Miami doing at least 3. Maybe we'll even put out 4 a month. That's a lot for us with regular day jobs. Yeah. And then outside of jiu-jitsu, and it just takes off. But, to this day, I tell people,
this is my day job.
Yeah. You gotta love what you do, and you could see it in the videos that you put out. And we're just having a ball doing this. I mean, we just had Marcelo Cohen in earlier. He's very
That's
a
the
lot
guy
of fun
that fought
to talk
Mikey
to.
recently, wasn't it?
Yes, he fought Mikey Musumeci.
He represent for the Masters. The Masters out there.
We were talking about that too. About he'll go into adult because there's nobody really in Masters. But I mean, for these kids, I try to tell people if you're doing this to be famous. I don't think it works for you if you're just doing it to be famous, because it winds up coming off that way. I think that if you're doing this because you love jiu-jitsu or whatever you're doing, if you're putting out cooking videos, or if you're doing it because you love it, I think those are the ones that really resonate with people, because they see that you're not trying so hard. So just like, listen, just do what like you said, you're doing a double leg. You didn't want to do the video, you were heading home, whatever. And that's the one that takes off. And I just think that, like the younger kids. Now, look, I'll defer to you. What advice would you give that young kid that's like, I'm doing really good at jiu-jitsu, and I would like to be like an Alec Baulding. I would like to increase my presence. Any advice for these young kids doing it now?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, it is a part of the game, so you can't ignore it. You can't just. I'm kind of happy. It's kind of like, I don't know if catch-22 is a term, but like kind of growing up before like Instagram and like Facebook were popular, so we didn't really have that like pressure. It was like, oh, I got in the Gracie mag. That was like, oh, cool, awesome. Okay, let's go back to training. Yeah. So it wasn't really like.
How old is he?
You said you are 30.
I'm 32, so I'm
32.
Oh.
Yeah. I dated myself when I mentioned Gracie mag.
You said magazine. For all you kids, right. Magazines used to come in the mail. Or you
They're made of paper, and
it's like Instagram but on paper.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have that pressure to like. It was more like, okay, I need to win this tournament. That's like, I still kind of think about that. I think of that way, like, oh, I win this tournament. That's the proper route.
Yeah.
It can be tough, it because it's not all fair. You have some kids, maybe they grow up in California, or they go train the Mendez brothers. Of course, they're gonna have a bigger following than you.
Yeah.
Even if you're the same skill, it's just they're gonna have a bigger following. They're in the network with the guys, So that can be tough. I don't know. It's like it's all new, right? It's not like this has ever been like
as old as the internet is now. It's still new. I mean, it's really it's in its infancy with some of the things that are happening. Like Gordon Ryan. I don't know that he's the first to let the cat out of the bag, but I know I heard you talking about this on a podcast that you were on, which is I do the competitions to sell my instructionals. My instructionals is where I'm making the money. I'm not making the money from the competition, but the competition gives me and my videos, my pages, exposure, right? I mean, the cat's out of the bag after the last competition that he did.
Well, the fact that he kills everybody that he goes up against also gives him credibility,
I mean, him like calling a move and then, oh, lo and behold, there's an instructional on, mounted triangles or, arm or whatever the move was in the last one. So, I mean, it's again, cat's out of the bag, but I think, I'm not going to, give advice like I'm you, but I definitely see that you want to get famous, compete. You want to be known, compete. Put out the videos, but you need to compete. You need to be out there. You need to be doing tournaments. And as a 48-year-old man, that's the advice that I would give a 16, 17, or even a 20-year-old that's looking to be, quote unquote, internet famous.
I mean, things are changing because, like, he kind of froze up a little bit.
Yeah, I hit the wire. That's me hitting the wire. You'll come back. No worries. We got the sound.
But there's guys on YouTube that are, they're not. I'm not going to say they're not good, but they're probably never going to win like Pro Bowl Worlds or anything. But their content does resonate with people. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of old school mentality. I need to be a black belt. That's how I used to think. I need to be a black belt before I can start posting these techniques. But I mean, realistically, I don't know. It's whoever's more entertaining, whoever the people relate to that are going to do well. So maybe it could be a 16-year-old blue belt that doesn't win, but has a good personality or great story. So I think you just got to experiment, guys. You don't have to follow the same cookie cutter model. When the world championship become famous, like there's probably easier ways.
I mean, I've never looked at a video. I'll look up a move. I've never said, well, let me check out this guy's credentials. Let me look at his record before I watch this video or take in this content. I've never done that. I usually gravitate, and this is one of the reasons why I like your stuff. I usually gravitate towards people that, first of all, I like it in smaller snippets. That's why I like your Instagram stuff. I like it quicker and faster. That's what she said, right? And I like when it's explained though. Like I need to know where the hand that I don't see on camera, like I need to know where that hand is or where that foot's supposed to be. Oh, it's pointing out or it's pointing in or, it's close to the body. Like those little details are what help me. I like your stuff. I like Jason Scully because he puts them out like really fast. Like, oh, you can pick out something and say, oh, I'm in that position. Allow 50 Kimuras or 50 takedowns in 6 minutes. I always gravitated towards those. Eli Knight, I've had him on the show. Same thing. Like I like the way he explains stuff. So, quick. I like to see it explained well in a short amount of time. And I gravitate towards those videos the most. But again, I've never looked back and said, let me check out his record before I do that move. Show me the move, and then I'm going to make it my own or, add my little twist to it if I even do that. But I think, everybody has a different, kind of way of coaching. And I think for me, I didn't know you when you were doing ADCC, when you won the trials. Like I kind of really just trained and, watched the occasional Jason Scully video. And then I started, as we started doing the podcast a few years ago, and then I discovered kind of the tournament systems or not the tournament systems, but the competition scene. Oh, well, Fight to Win, they were already in the, well over 100. And I'm like really just discovering that. I'd heard about them, but I wasn't going home watching them. And then now because of the podcast, wanting to talk to people that compete, and now I'm addicted to, the Fight to Wins and the who's number ones. But again, look, everyone's different. Teaching tactics and styles are different. Then you just got to find who like resonates with you, and then get into their stuff. Like with the like I'm seeing you wearing your BJJ Fanatics shirt or sweater.
Oh, yeah.
When we was talking to Marcelo Cohen on the last show, and he said, I was like, did you find the instructionals or did they find you? Like, how did this happen for you? And he said he just looked at the producers on the videos and he just started emailing them. He got their emails and he started emailing just like the producers. He did an instructional and then they sold it to BJJ Fanatics. Now that's not the road. Is that the road for you as well? Or is it different? Or were you approached? Did they come to you? You go to them?
So I did mine after I did one of the trials. So my coach, the coach that was in Atlanta, he's still there. Leo Noguera. He's really good friends with Bernardo. So they had the same style, pressure, half guard, and they came up together in Sao Paulo. So I think it definitely helps to go that route because, unfortunately, they're going to give the guys that win those tournaments more money, just up front. Oh, you're world champion, you did ADCC, they're going to give you more money than Naga champion, right? Even if Naga champion Naga champion is good too, but
not the same. Good,
no,
but not the same.
But I mean, ultimately, you still have to come up with like your topic, and they might help you brainstorm, but you still have to know your topic really well to be able to, talk about it for a few hours and show the techniques and stuff.
Yeah, one of the things that I heard somebody talking about with your instructionals, and I agree, was that you not only show the move, but then you have your partner kind of work the move as well, which you don't typically see in the instructionals. It's not very often that you see somebody now practicing the move that you've just taught the person and the people that are watching on screen to how to do the move on you, right?
I mean, it makes sense.
Was that conscious? Was that a conscious effort for you? Or is that just something like, oh, crap, I didn't even realize I did that? I
mean, that's how I teach. So just from teaching so long, you teach kids and white belts, like you're like, dude, you're not doing it right. Okay, do here, put your foot here. You gotta you're doing it wrong. Like you have to kind of get in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just natural. If you're working with someone pure beginner, they're not going to know what to do or how to move their body. So you just grab them and hey, push here, do that.
Yeah.
So just over years, and then like when I lived in Sweden, I had to I was teaching kids and they didn't speak English, so it was rough. So I had to use hand gestures, learn a little bit of the language. So I'm doing everything I can, like almost non-verbally.
Are you fluent now?
I can speak a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been a year, maybe about 2 years, a year or two since I left there. But I was getting pretty decent. I haven't been using my Swedish in a while. So
next is Chinese.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
But I mean, so much of jiu-jitsu, think about like a lot of places had Brazilian instructors that didn't speak English, right? So you're like, boom, pointing.
Yeah.
So that's how we just teach. It's just very nonverbal communication, which luckily translates pretty well everywhere. So
now are you, what was the last event that we saw you on? Was it a Who's Number One?
Yeah, that's last time.
Who's Number One?
Mm-hmm.
So are you still going to actively compete in either IBJJF or Who Number One? Are you active? I mean, you said you don't want to, kind of straying away from coaching, but is that still something you're going to be doing?
I want to. There's a few tournaments that I'm. So for me, I'm only like looking at the tournaments that I'm excited about. So before I would just like, I would try to compete once a month or something insane. But like now I'm just kind of just focus on what I'm excited about doing pans. It's going to be a big tournament. It's not too far away. So I'm trying to just have fun with it first, more so than like, I got to do this. For my social media, there's been times where I had to do something because of social media. So now I'm just like, when I took that break off during COVID, it was like, okay, if I want to compete, I want to have fun. I want to like be really geared to do this. And I think that's the way you need to do it. If you're not having fun to compete, because it's such a nerve-wracking experience. If you don't really want to be there, like, it's everybody knows it. You know it. Your opponent knows it. The referee knows it. The table staff knows it. Like, this guy doesn't want to be here. So I just want to be excited to go out there and, do my best. So I think eventually, there's, like I said, Pans. That's a big one. I'm really looking forward to Disneyland. Hit up Disneyland afterwards. So yeah, there will be some more tournaments. Just no rush to go back out there and pay an exorbitant amount.
So with like the who's number ones and the fight to wins, do you have to stay in their ear a little bit? Do you have to be like, hey, listen, man, I want to compete. You find an opponent for me, I'll be ready. Or is it like that, or is it just you're waiting for the phone to ring in some cases?
I think I don't want to say it's merit based. So for me, like before the ADCC trials, I remember I went to New Jersey kind of beforehand. And so they happened to be doing like a fight to win in somewhere in New Jersey. I don't know where it was. So this is like 2 weeks before ADCC. So, I was like, hey, Seth, I didn't really know him that well. So I was like messaging him. I was like, dude, can I get on the card? And then like, I remember I went to the event and I had my gi ready. I was like, man, you need anybody? And like, I couldn't get on there. So I wasn't too butthurt, but for me, it was like, I couldn't get on there, but then, fast forward a week or two later, we went ADCC trials. And then like, that kind of opened the door for me. So I think, I forget what you were talking about, but
I'm saying, like, do you have to stay in their ear, or do you have to, like, you have to be like, hey, like what you just said, hey, look at me, I'm over here, I want to get on the card, or does the phone ring? But you said it's really more merit based, so they need to see you out there competing. Yeah,
I think if you show what you got,
yeah,
and if you just say you're interested, I think they'll bring you on. I think even for who's number one, I didn't try to pull any favors or anything. I just did the fighter application just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't nothing like I didn't phone anybody. Hey, put me on the card. I want to be the main event. It
Seth,
wasn't like
make this happen.
No, I just did the fighter. I did the fighter registration just like everybody else. And then they got back to me and helped me get a match. So I think you always want to rely on your merit. You don't want to rely on someone else's reputation or anything, because you might tarnish that thing. So try to rely on yourself, guys.
Gotcha. Or favors, man. Favors come back to haunt you.
Man, no free lunch, man.
You do a lot of these instructionals. Are you a consumer of anybody in particular? Do you watch videos? Is there a go-to instructional that you like, or a person that you really like to follow and get some tips from?
I honestly try not to watch too much jiu-jitsu instructionals. I used to when I was coming up, blue belt, purple, like just watch so much video, and that's we would study that way. Now I kind of just, so I don't copy anybody, their talking points or anything, I kind of steer clear as much as possible. But I do watch other instructionals from different fields. So maybe like filmmaking, photography, music, like anime. So I kind of look at other sources and kind of try to include that in my own style. I really don't try to copy anybody. I will go on Instagram and there's pages that I'll check out and I guess I gotta watch out for these moves, these heel hooks coming up, that move. Oh, what is he doing? So I will kind of glance and see what's going on. See, Flow Grappling posted something. Okay, cool. Oh, gotta watch out for that move now. I think for me, because I was able to travel, that's how I'll go learn a lot. If I want to work on my passing, I'll go train Lucas Lepre. Or if I go to these tournaments, I'm watching the tournaments and, what are the blue belts doing? What are the purple belts doing? So I think just always kind of keeping your eye out open for new techniques probably is the best way. And then a lot of the stuff we can figure out ourselves too. I mean, jiu-jitsu is very logical. So if you like, say someone asks me a question and I don't know the answer, I'll kind of how we talked about, like, I'll let the person do the move on me. To figure out the position, grab my ankle. Okay, let's see if I can get out of this. And then I'm like, I can't get out. So a lot of it's just like experimentation. There's not. So you tell them
okay, wait, all right. So I ask you a question and you go, well, I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah, do the move on me. I'll show you what I would do. You kind of would feel, okay, so if we're here, then I would do this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we'll just kind of sit there and figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I'll go ask somebody. That's
the best way. I always bring up when I first started training my first gym, my coach was 265. I was probably 210, 220. And I had a 400-pound training partner. Taller than me, very large man. Sweetheart of a guy, gentle giant. but we always had to kind of figure out things, and it just became part of the class, and it wasn't like embarrassing for him or anything. We didn't make it like, okay, now let's show how to do it for a fat guy. It wasn't like that. It was just like, okay, listen, we've just got to do it a little different. Hey, where do you need me? Go here. Okay, so we would be like, I can never close my feet in guard. So he was always an open guard for him if he was in somebody's guard, no matter, I don't care how big, there was nobody whose legs were big enough. Shaq wouldn't be able to lock around him. And I only say that to say he was a large guy, and so we did everything different. So, okay, the move, he wasn't learning how to pass the guard the same way that I was. It was always an open guard. Okay, where do you go from here? So just always had that mindset of like working things out, and learned early on. I coached just for a little bit at that gym. Like, I was a white belt into a blue belt, and so I'd help with the kids' classes or the white belts behind me. So I knew early on just from him that everybody's body type, first of all, everybody's mind learns a little differently, but everybody's body type is going to do the move just a little bit differently. We all know, we see that guy with the skinny legs, like, yeah, there's the triangle guy. I'm the smash and pass. I'm like 240. So
what's that, continent class? Planet class?
I'm 240. I'm a smash and pass guy. I mean, I'm gonna fight to get on top, and I'm gonna rub my ribs into your belly, and make you a little of that. But I was taught smash, get on top, stay on top. Now that I'm a little bit older and I had a knee injury, I actually now I'll pull a lot of guard because I don't want to do like a lot of slide passing. It just scared to get the knee caught, so I'll do a lot of pulling guard. And my coach is I train at Fight Sports in Coral Springs, Florida, under Felipe Amarante, and his wife Sophia, and he's done a couple of fight to wins. He's like 3-0, and all his stuff is locked down. Pull guard, locked down, done. And kind of the Eddie Bravo electric chair style. So I've kind of just taken on that. He's got a bad back, so he pulls guard. He doesn't want to hurt his back. He pulls guard. He's comfortable, and I've just kind of taken that on too, because now I'm so scared of messing up my knee again. So, but yeah, everybody's different, and when I'm helping guys, especially like the kids, I'll be like, I love when like the big kid. Like he's 14 and he's just as big as me. I'm like, come here, let me give you the secrets for the big guy. I like north-south choke, stay on top, get their neck and they can't move, especially if you're that big. So, but I mean, look, everybody's a little bit different. So, I mean, look, what's your walking around weight, or where do you normally compete? What weight are you normally competing at?
I do like middleweight or middle heavy.
Okay.
So this could be like 82 kilograms to 86, 85, 86.
So that's what, like
what's
165, 165, 175?
It's like 180 to 185.
Okay.
Oh,
maybe 190-ish.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Now, how tall are you?
I'm pretty short. So I'm about 5'5", 5'6".
Okay.
oh, really? Same height as Marcelo.
So yeah, all right. Well,
But
I think Marcelo's a little bit smaller than you.
Yeah, but thicker weight.
Marcelo's is a little bit shorter, I think. Now,
Make sure you say Marcelo Cohen so they don't think Marcelo Garcia. Marcelo? Marcelo Garcia?
He's tiny too, right? How tall is he? He's right.
He might be around the same size, but he's got all his weight's in his legs, so he's got those cankles, man.
Yeah, he's got them really thick legs. That's funny. That's where I got my first tournament. Just white belt. I laid on this guy's face. I didn't know what a north-south was at the time. We transitioned. I laid on his face, and he tapped from my belly being over his face. So I went home. So everyone was like, "Oh, there's a north-south choke." I'm like, "Okay." So then I went home and looked it up, and there was Marcelo Garcia. And I just watched the same video a million times, and I made that was my big guy on top move is a north south. So
Did you ever smell a sweaty belly button? That's why he tapped.
I don't think that's the north south choke. That's something else.
My Mac is. Give me a second, Alec.
What's happening? Oh,
You dying?
Battery?
Yeah. I just realized it.
Oh, you forgot to put the.
Forgot to plug in. Sorry.
Forgot to plug it. Plug it in.
So that was. I have a lot of military guys. My co-hosts, again, usually we do roundtables when it's not a Zoom. We have people come in. If you're ever in Miami, please come in. We'll have you in the studio. One of my Marine co-hosts or Marine vet co-hosts, I've done the move on him. He calls it the Abu Ghraib.
Oh Jesus!
He calls it the
God.
Abu Ghraib very specifically because I'm a big guy. I used to wear a t-shirt over my rash guard, so the t-shirt just soaked in sweat.
Waterboarding.
It's taken on the name of the Abu Ghraib. So North South is now the Abu Ghraib. So yeah, he hates it because I'll make sure that I give him a little t-shirt before I sink the North South in.
Oh. You're cruel, dude.
So let's. I got I'm not necessarily going to call this a speed round, but let's talk a little bit about competitors that you like to watch. Who's your favorite to watch? Not instructionals, but who's your favorite guy to watch? Or let's take it a step back and say, because not all jiu-jitsu guys watch a lot of flow grappling and stuff. Do you? Are you a flow grappling guy? Do you watch every event?
I'll try to watch some of the bigger ones, more so those tournament ones. So when they do pans or something, nogi pans, just because, I'm trying to see what's going on. But as far as competitors, Lucas Lepre, definitely up there.
Yeah. One of your faves.
Super great. One of the GOATs out there. Mikey will go fight heavyweight sometimes when he shouldn't. So that's dude, he's gonna die.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. He's got one of those famous videos, right? Where the guy is like 4 of him, right? Is that him? There's the really big dude. They were always bigger.
Well, he did the Absolute Europeans.
Is that the one? Is that the one that went viral where he's?
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a big dude. So
who else is good? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish.
Old school guys. From when I was coming up, was always Marcelo Garcia, Ronaldo Jacare, Hodja Gracie, Margarita. That's an old school one. Terere, guys like Cobrinha. So many good guys, man. There's so many good guys out there. And realistically, there's only Balea, guys. You guys know Balea, that he's the only person that he's on Flow Grappling, kind of posts all the old school matches, but that's it.
Oh, I know who. Yeah, he does Balea's breakdown, right?
But that's
does
it.
Breakdown, I think he calls it.
But there's so many good guys, even the old school guys. There's so many good guys that they just never got any attention. So,
did you train under Cobrinha?
Yeah, so I was trained under Cobrinha, Lucas Lepre, Roberto Travin for a good bit.
Yeah.
So, man, but there's so many good guys out there, and then there's so many good guys, young guys, you guys don't hear about that are super good. They just they don't get a lot of focus. So that's kind of hard because I know these guys, and we all all the black belts know these guys, but then they're just never on Flow Grappling or Jiu-Jitsu Times or anything. So it kind of sucks, man.
What's your go-to move? What's your again, mine is, I like the North South. Now I'm doing the lockdown a lot. Do you have a go-to move?
Submission wise?
I mean, let's talk about submission, and then we'll also talk about position. Where do you like to be? You a guard puller, or do you like takedowns?
It all depends on the opponent. So I'm always adjusting my game, my style, my approach to the opponent. Obviously, I have a game I like to use, but it's always changing. That's one thing I like about myself is that, hey, that's not working. I'll get out of there.
Yeah.
Some guys, especially lower belts, you guys will sit in something.
They'll
and
commit.
I'm dude, you should have got out. It's too late. You screwed up. That 2 seconds you wasted. That's it.
Wow.
But yeah, I try to be well-rounded. I mean, obviously you're going to have preference and habits and stuff, but I'm always trying to adjust, passing, guard play, whatever. I make sure I don't have one thing I just do.
Yeah. So if I ask you what was your worst bad habit, do you have one? What's that thing that man, I keep on doing that. I got to stop doing that.
I'm sure I do stuff that I'm I shouldn't do that. Usually I'm pretty good about that. I'm man, I shouldn't do that anymore. Yeah, most of my stuff is mental. It's not even technical. Yeah. It's not I need the techniques is off. It's technique might be good. Maybe the timing was off, or maybe I didn't believe in the move enough. Or it's almost never technical.
Gotcha. Is there a loss at either on your record or at a competition? The whole you don't lose, you learn. Is there one that stands out, a loss that stands out to you that you're yeah, man, if it wasn't for that loss, I wouldn't have changed this in my game, which made me so much better?
I mean, hopefully every loss you're man, I need to work on this. Mm-hmm. I've had some losses. I remember as a purple belt, this is a few years ago. Well, it was definitely a few years ago, probably over a decade ago. But there was a point where you could sign up for the absolute without having to place, because they would do the absolute the day before at purple belt.
Okay.
So this is probably like a decade or more. And so I remember I was fighting this big guy. I was probably lightweight or maybe just started middleweight. And then like, it was a big guy. And I remember, I think I was down on points and the guy's like, man, you'll never win during the match. So I was like, oh, no.
Not today.
You're not going to win. So that one kind of stung. But man, like I've lost so much. And after a few months, years, like, dude, I forget, like, unless you like, I wasn't thinking about that loss till you like, hey, was there?
Sorry.
But it's like, man, eventually people forget, you know, it's like, so it's just better just to like not get too hung up on it. You know, some guys like, oh, I lost. And then they make excuses on, you know, social media, like, well, the referee, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. First, I want to thank my coaches. I really put in performance. But you know, the ref this, and then there's always, if you read the post long enough, there's always going to be some kind of excuse.
Jesus, dude. Like if I'm losing, I just like, all right, let's go back. I think also the coaches, I remember like, you know, training under Cobrinha, like, you know, maybe you win a tournament and then like, you come back on Monday. Hey, cool. And then he was like, okay, let's go. Yeah. So it was always like, always like humbling experience. I never had a chance to like, you know, there wasn't social media back then, so I couldn't have like 1 million followers. And then like my coach over here is keeping me in check. So I never had a chance to like really get too big headed. So that always, I think, very thankful for that.
Yeah, I don't think you're never stepping into my gym and being like, yeah, I'm the Florida champion now. You know, I won the Florida whatever ABC Elemental P tournament, and you better not come in with a big head into our gym.
I'm saying he would do that after like, oh, I won pans. Oh, I won pans. Like, oh, come over here. Like, I guess that didn't really
give you a minute to enjoy the victory. You know, no. Let's say like the next class. You want to enjoy it in the next class. Take a picture with the coach. Put your medal on. No.
The coaches were good about like, man, that doesn't mean anything, man. Like they're always so quick to like, which I'm happy. I'm glad they did that. So we never really thought about the wins or losses too much because like, well, I'm still getting my butt kicked by this guy. So like, what really changed?
Yeah. Do you use anything for mindset? You mentioned mentors before, but do you have anything that you read or you watch that like, you know, gets the mind in check? Jiu-jitsu or outside of this world, you know? Something that like your go-to, like I have certain things that I'll listen to or that I'll read that keeps my, you know, there's a lot of similarities between sales. Like Bo and I are both kind of, you know, marketing backgrounds, and there's certain things that I'll listen to that I'm like, it translates well into just life and jiu-jitsu and vice versa. Is there anything that it's like your go-to for you to keep your mind straight, whether it's before a competition or otherwise?
I feel like I've tried everything pretty much, you know, everything to like reading books on motivation and stuff like that, to like watching inspirational videos, to like doing, I feel like journaling, like I've kind of gone through everything. Yeah. So I think I touched on it earlier, but it's, bless you. I think I touched on it earlier, but it was like, I think for me, it was just, I had to really be excited to go out there and compete. For me, that's what makes me perform really well, when I'm excited and I'm happy to be there, and I did everything in my power to prepare. So I think everybody's different. You have to figure out, kind of go through that struggle, that process, man. That's kind of part of jiu-jitsu. You just kind of.
What is your process before a major competition like the Pans or you know, or even a WNO? Are you like a camp? Are you training enough that you don't really have to do a camp, or do you get like, all right, I'm going to start eating better, I'm going to be training more? You know,
sorry guys, I got some rain back here. It's not bothering you, is it?
No, I don't hear anything. No, we're not picking anything up.
Can you go over it one more time?
Yeah, please? I was gonna like, do you go into a camp essentially before like a who's number one, or even when the Pans are coming around? Are you like, okay, 2 month, you know, hardcore training, pro training, I'm going to do these things? Do you have or are you just always ready?
Yeah. I mean, I try to be as ready as possible. It's a little bit easier when you're teaching because you're always there to train. So, for me, you know, maybe I go train with Lucas maybe a month or two before, or go do a training camp somewhere else. I'm always thinking about jiu-jitsu. Even during the COVID times, I'm still working on videos. I'm still watching, editing. So it's always kind of there. Obviously the physical aspect of it's kind of off. So I think, just try to give yourself time to prepare, at least 8 to 6 weeks before the tournament, you're ready. I think mentally just preparing yourself for that experience. That's the most important part. Not getting too nervous or too scared. I think for me, it's like you have to enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
There's been times where I was like overwhelmed and like, I gotta do this tournament and I don't know what I'm doing.
You ever drop out? You ever say, I just can't do it. My mind's not right.
Oh, whenever I signed up for a tournament, that was like, all right, here we go. That was like all right, this is real.
It's happening.
Yeah. I also like just coming up, I had instructors. Sometimes like my first time competing, I didn't want to compete. It was like the coach said, hey, go compete. And I was like, okay. And so sometimes like the coach kind of can bypass those feelings that you have and kind of from a
wanting to do it to like, well, I guess I have to do this because my coach is telling me.
Yeah. So you're not going to argue with your
coach.
Take
the emotion out of it, I guess. Right.
Yeah. Which is kind of tough now. Like, I feel like it's hard to do that nowadays. Like there's people, they get upset and you push me too hard. So I get the hobbyist versus professional. So
yeah. I talk about that a lot because like I'm a hobbyist. I've got a full-time job. Doing the podcast is my second job. And then to really get ready for a competition again, I had a heart attack a couple years ago. So I did one competition after that, and I just can't get my cardio to a place where I need it to be. And my heart, I was taking a lot of medication at the time for the stints that they put in. So my heart goes from 0 to 60 real quick. Not like I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack, but it's racing so hard that it takes your mind off of what you're doing. I'm off of almost all of my medications now. So now I'm thinking, okay, could I possibly do this again? Will it not be something in the back of my mind? I'm thinking about that instead of the next move. So I definitely, mindset is huge for me, but being a hobbyist, if we were in the same weight class, again, we talked about this with Marcelo on the last podcast, was he does some of the local tournaments. Imagine showing up, you're a 135er and you show up and Marcelo Cohen is across the mat. You're a hobbyist, maybe you have a black belt, but you're a 2 or 3 day a week guy, and you see this professional, the last video you saw was his combat jiu-jitsu or him wrenching that guy's arm behind his, almost took it around 360, and you're standing across the mat from this guy. Are you really ready? So I might be overthinking it, but that's kind of what I've told myself before. It's like I need to be able to train 5 days a week, and do weight training and get the diet right. And it's very hard to do that when you have a 9 to 5. That's outside of jiu-jitsu anyway.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, a few years ago it was more doable, but now you have even lower belts that are full-time white belts.
Yeah, man, right?
I think at black belt, I mean, if even like a hobbyist black belt usually is going to be pretty tough. So hopefully won't be too bad of a beat down going against more of a professional guy, but maybe lower belts, obviously, I think probably.
You remember that video, Andre Galvao? He was fighting a black belt. He's just like riding his back, and it was just like,
I think I was there.
Yeah.
I might've been there.
I was like, and he like pushing him down, like pushing him out. Like,
I forget what happened. I think the guy tried for a heel hook or something. The guy did something, or it was something like that. Yeah, there was more to the story. He wasn't just beating up the guy. The guy did something.
I mean, I don't even think he was beating him up. He was just kind of like flowing all over him. The guy turtled up. He's spinning around his back, and it was just like, and then he pushes him off the mat at the end. It's like, oh, man. And that's everybody's nightmare. That's every hobbyist's nightmare, to be on a mat like that across from Andre Galvao.
I guess at that point you're like, well, I better not do this adult division no more. To be fair, it was adult worlds, black belt, adult worlds. Like, I don't know what else to say. In for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better be prepared. So how much, you talked about, training and traveling and coaching in other places, for somebody that's choosing a gym, I guess they're not going to know this, but once you start, how important is the lineage of your coach in choosing where to train? Okay, maybe a white belt's not going to know understand that. But once you start training and maybe you want to take it further, how much does lineage play into where somebody should, choose to train?
I mean, that depends. I definitely think you want your instructor to have some type of record. You shouldn't be like no record, black belt, red belt. You're like
undefeated,
30-year-old red belt, 400-0. So I think as far as lineage, it should just be a record. Oh, he trained with this guy. This guy has some type of presence or something, credentials. I would consider that a red flag if someone didn't have any type of lineage or anything. They just came out of nowhere. But I have been around places where the gym was more of a club. So there was just some guy, blue belt or something, that happened
highest belts training, highest belts running class that day.
But that's different than so a club is different than like an academy where, the blue belt is teaching everybody and is in charge of everything versus like a club atmosphere. I posted on this pretty recently. It was like blue belts should not be head instructors. So
I know the YouTube video is there. I did not watch it. I'm sorry that I didn't watch it, but tell everybody tell everybody your thoughts. Go ahead and explain.
Honestly, people don't really look at like the title, but they don't listen to the video. So that easy views, right, guys? But if you listen to the video, it's mostly about your own development. So if you're a blue belt and then you're teaching, you're going to take away from your own training, right? You're not going to be able to progress as fast. You're not focusing on yourself. So ultimately you're going to be kind of hindering yourself in progressing the belts and stuff. I mean, obviously there's going to be special cases, but there's so much jiu-jitsu now. There's so many black belts now. There's so many academies now. So I forget what we were talking about. Something about blue belts.
Well, the blue belt video that you put out.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Drew, one of my co-hosts, he's recently opened a gym. Got his black belt last year. He recently opened a gym right before COVID, I think. And he talked about when I went to train with him a couple of weeks ago, and he talked a little bit about. He's like, man, but because I'm helping everybody else train, I'm not getting as much training in. And he's like, and I see it when I start to roll my purple belts and they're pulling, these attacks on me that I just finished showing them or, that they've been learning over the course of the month. And I did say to him, I said, but again, it was at white and blue for me. When I was helping people in coaching, it was helping me with I would remember, your foot's got to be here. It would help me. And I was the type of trainer like you that I would go do it both ways. Okay, I'm going to do it on you, but then you're going to do it on me now. I didn't just show them the move and then say, go ahead, go do this on the next guy. So that was very helpful to me. So I asked him, I go, don't you feel like you're training your mind? Don't you feel like you're solidifying the move for yourself? I don't think he agreed with me, though. He was like, no, they're still, my purple belts are putting it on me. And he's a very good competitor, and his name's Drew Phoenix. He's down here in South Florida. So anyway, but I mean, your thoughts?
I mean, there's a difference between like coaching one student or a few students and then like being in charge of a whole academy.
Okay.
So for me, like when I experienced that, it was like, it was just like, man, it was kind of eye-opening just because you're always helping people. It's not like you really have that downtime. There's people messaging you. You're in the bathroom, you're showering, and then there's like some guy talking about jiu-jitsu, and you're like, dude, I'm in the shower. I just want to wash myself up. So it's almost like you can't turn it off.
All I'm picturing is a guy with a loofah scrubbing your back, trying to talk to you about jiu-jitsu while you're just trying to take a shower.
Yeah. It can be overwhelming too, because imagine you're for a whole school, whole academy, like 100+ people are like want your attention and want you to watch them roll and want you to like. It can be overwhelming. I don't think I was really made for that because it. Like,
so no gym in your future. You're not. It doesn't sound like you'll be opening a gym anytime soon.
Maybe once I get older and like it's like having a family. That's exactly how I felt. Like it was like, man, it felt like I was married with like 1,000 kids and like you're like, freaking, hey guys, I'm trying to train and like. There was one time I didn't like look at somebody or something when I was like in a rush to like start a class and the guy got upset. So it's just like there's so much stuff going on. You like you don't know what you're doing wrong. But it can be overwhelming. I mean, obviously you can use your students to train as much as you can, but also you're not going to have like high level guys. So that's probably what your friend was missing, was also the high level guys help keep him sharp.
Yeah.
And also when you're teaching, sometimes like your mindset's kind of sharp, but then like, your body's not like, if you're fighting your students, you're not like always exactly where you want to be, like technically wise. So it's a fine balance, and it's hard. It's hard to balance like being a competitive person, a competitive jiu-jitsu practitioner, and being a good coach.
Yeah. I start to smile because my coach, my professor, the owner of my gym, Felipe, we all laugh because he could be across the mat. We have as far as jiu-jitsu gyms, we have it's like 3 storefronts, like triple the average smaller gym that I've seen. So it's relatively big. He's got like 100 plus kids any given day coming through for just the kids programs, like 3 different classes. But when he does roll with the adults, like you'll hear him across the mat. If you're talking like 30 feet away, you'll hear him say, "Save it for Facebook. Let's go. Stop coaching." Like he hears and sees everything. We have this little joke about it that like, just, is he watching? Because he catches everything. He'll roll, and if you ever watch him roll in a class, he might be rolling even with a tough black belt, and he's watching the other lower belts train, and he's keeping an eye on everything. He's developed this skill to do that. I know it's not easy. He's not going to catch everything, but he has this skill of doing it. We kind of think it's funny because we see when somebody's doing something stupid, we're like, he's going to see it. Don't worry, he catches it, But so no gym in your future. Maybe down the road, you'll maybe open a gym.
I think the best gyms have like you need like different types of coaches. So like look at AOJ. It's the Mendez brothers, right? It's not one Mendez guy. Yeah. So I think it helps to have maybe someone that's better at interacting with the students, and then maybe someone that's more on the technical side or coaching side. So it really helps. It's hard to do it solo. I see a lot of guys do it solo or try to do it solo. But if you have like, I think it helps to have a partner or partners that are kind of fill in the gaps for you. But I think if you're trying to do everything on your own, like, you're going to burn out. Even if you're good at doing both, you're going to burn out. So.
Yeah, we had a coach, love him to death. I won't say his name. We had a coach, but he was so old school that, the owner, the professor would note, he was able to see that when he wasn't there and this coach taught, he would lose more students. He would lose more students because the training was so hard. He was just like, you have to understand these people. Again, the hobbyists. Not all of these people are going to go to competition. These are hobbyists. You have to be careful. We actually have more of the hobbyists show up on Tuesdays and Thursdays at my gym because those days they do a lighter warm-up. So the older guys know I can go there. I'm not going to die by the end of the warm-ups, and I can still get my jiu-jitsu in. And I think that's a good thing. I'll let you guess what days I go on. So like, the older guys know that not only they're going to be some older guys that we can roll with, but they also know they're not going to die by the end of the warm-ups. But you go on a Monday or Wednesday, and you better be ready. And I do go different days. For work, I go Tuesday, Thursday, just by coincidence. But so like he recognized that, and he also recognized that he lost students when of that very particular coach, who was awesome and incredible what he does. We didn't have a lot of competitors at that Fight Sports location, so him coming in training everybody like they were about to train for a competition, it just wasn't the right fit. And he's come in and out, but unless the professors there or the owners there, it just isn't working out. So again, it goes back to everybody learns different. Everybody's there for a different reason, and I think a good coach recognizes, okay, I have to maybe tailor the way I'm teaching to how that person learns and what they're here for. Because again, at 41, when I went to my coach and I said, "Hey, I want to do some competitions," his mouth fell to the floor. He's like, "You're 41. What are you going to do?" And he was like, "All right, let's do it." But again, the 50-year-old guy in my class in that I train with now, one of the oldest, he's doing this for self-defense. He's doing it for the health aspect. He loves jiu-jitsu, and his kids are in the school. So he's showing them as well, like, hey, look, daddy can do it too. So again, everybody's there for a different reason, but I think a good coach kind of recognizes that, unless you're, like Fight Sports in Miami, it's like, there's the black belt training, like, be careful. Don't just show up. No, I shouldn't call it black belt training. They have a pro training. Just watch out if you're a blue belt and you think you're going to a hobbyist class and you're rolling with black belts who are, about to do, the pans or the ADCC trials, and you get smashed. So what are your thoughts on somebody like Gordon Ryan? And, because we talked a little bit about, kind of the ways to become more popular. You train, you do these competitions, you become more popular. You win an event, you become more popular. What are your thoughts on the way that Gordon Ryan has done it? He's actively chosen to be the heel. That's by design. That's not by accident. I think it fits with his personality a little bit as well. What are your thoughts on that route for some people? You agree, disagree, have an opinion?
I think it's more of a sign of the times that's what, people are drawn to. So of course, if you see those antics or what get views what get, those fights or seminars. So I can't really fault someone for wanting to be successful in jiu-jitsu because it's very hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to make it. It's not easy to be good. There's a lot of good guys that are still struggling,
Like you said, that nobody ever knows, but you know them and they're amazing, but you don't.
I'm saying there's people that are known and good and still are struggling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it can be tough. I can't say that I agree with his methods. I don't really follow him, to be honest. That's just for myself. Like when I'm on social media, I focus on myself, what I'm posting.
Yeah.
that's all I have energy for. I don't have enough attention for
post and ghost. You're not getting into, if somebody DMs you, maybe you'll answer them, but you're not commenting on everybody's videos.
No, I'm focusing on my own stuff, my own business. That's all I got time for and energy for.
Yeah.
But you can see the guys are hungry to make a name for themselves and they want to do it. You see that a lot in the MMA because the stakes are higher, right? It's like, they could actually die. I'm probably not going to die in my jiu-jitsu tournament, but that MMA guy probably might. There's a good chance something might happen.
Yeah.
It can be tough because you see guys. I mean, I'm still struggling, but I remember wanting to be like more popular, wanting to get those seminars, wanting to get on those tournaments. So I mean, it is a struggle, and it's not always fair. Some guys are going to get like a leg up on you. But I also mentioned that the really good guys, like the guys that are competing, they know who the good guys are. Like maybe this kid might not be famous, but it's like, man, this kid, he's been killing everybody in Brazil. Like, dude, I know this guy's good. Like, so I think people will see your hard work. Maybe not like the big media outlets. They probably, they're not going to know who you are until you beating everybody, every like guy they're rooting for until you beat all those guys. But I think, I just, whenever I'm talking to people or my friends or anything, I just tell them the same advice I follow, like, hey, keep posting, make good content, make interesting content. So I talked about the blue belts, not what that was. I knew that people were going to watch that just because people get upset over stuff like that without even watching the video. So I think you have to adapt, guys.
Are you the guru in your circles? Are you, do you feel like you've become a mentor to some of those other people that you've trained and that are coming up?
I hope so, but I might be more annoying because I'm like, hey man, gotta post, man, need to post, man, post. Whenever I'm that guy that's like, hey, let's film, let's take a picture, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because I know that in the long run, it might not be that one video, that one post, but over say like 3 or 4 years, maybe something's gonna catch,
Yeah.
And then like for me, when I look back, I can go back and see like different stages of myself and my production, my growth, where I was a different country back then. Yeah, let's watch the video from back then. So I think
it's a cool documentation of like your life in jiu-jitsu.
My hair is different. Like, oh, I had that hairstyle. What hairstyle did I have then?
Yeah.
So I think just getting people to post content, because like I said, there's different routes. Maybe you're able to do like something on TikTok, and I was like, or they might figure out something on TikTok and blow up. And that might be how they are able to live off jiu-jitsu versus like having to win this tournament, which it's only one guy that can win the tournament, guys.
You now this is in within like the last 5 podcasts we've done. You, Eli Knight, and Kendall Roosing have given the exact same advice, or at least the same.
We're all big on social media, right?
Yeah. But the part specifically was like, just keep on putting out content because you never know which is going to be the one. But I don't know if you can say, I think you might have said it before, every one of them can point to a video that was like, that was the one that I really picked up. You know, that was the one. I know that one. I didn't even think anything of it.
Even like Kendall, she got on like Gary V, like boom.
Yeah. Oh, did she? I didn't even see that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was her moment.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Well, yeah, you got the Gary V bump.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So you never know, man. Just like put yourself out there. I mean, even a tournament's like a form of marketing. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, hey, this is a marketing cost. If I go out there and win, okay. If I go out there and lose or whatever, nothing.
Have you thought about, again, I'm sorry, now I think you might have said this at the beginning of the podcast, but have you thought about turning that consulting part into a business for yourself? Helping other people do what you've done. Have you thought about that at all? Did you mention that before? You might have.
I don't think I mentioned that. It's possible. I already help my friends. For me, it's just like there's some videos. Some of my favorite videos are the ones I'm not even in. It's like the ones I'm behind. I'm like trying to figure out how to.
I do see you actively, like, you're making a conscious effort, I think, to do that a little bit more, right? I think I've seen a lot more content where you are filming others and posting.
Yeah, I'm not even in the thing.
Like, where is he? Is that him? Oh no, that's not him. I don't.
It's possible. For me, it's like, a lot of academy owners, a lot of jiu-jitsu competitors don't see the value in that kind of thing yet. So it can be kind of tough. So, I'm pulling their hair.
And actually like film, like putting out more content for themselves.
Content, yeah, exactly. So I think for me, more than like making money off of anything right now like that, it's just like build the skill set, eventually I'll get to a point where it's like, woo, it's going to be fire. And like, for me, that's more, I would want people to like seek me out, seek out my services, my skills, my talents. That's what I want to be at. I don't want to be like in people's DMs. Like, I don't want to. I'm trying to stay out of the DMs, but
in my world, we say there's nothing better than an incoming sales call. There's nothing better than somebody saying, "Hey, listen, I want to buy something from you, or I want you to do this for me."
But a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, at least, they don't see the value in that. So it's going to take time. And for me, I'm thinking forward. Maybe not this year, maybe 5 years from now, they're gonna be like, man, I need to get that video content Alec was talking about. But then I'll already had the 5 years, of practice. So no rush. A lot of it's just for fun. Like, I love promoting my friends' schools, their products, their businesses. So
that's the stuff. That's the stuff that does the best. Is when you're just having fun.
Yeah, that
energy radiates.
Again, we said before, if you love what you're doing, it resonates in the video. It resonates in the content that you're putting out. When it's forced, you can sometimes pick it up.
But it's not the same. It's never the same.
Something as simple like when I'm talking, if like I move my hands, even when I'm talking to you, you're not even in front of me. I talk with my hands. I do this when I'm talking to somebody on the phone about a marketing product. I just do this. Everybody goes, "What are you, Italian?" I said, "Well, I'm from New York. I got,
maybe
from New York.
From New York originally. I grew up on Long Island. So, but I've always done that. This really started to happen from doing sales. It was, motion creates emotion. So standing up and talking and more air in your lungs and movement, people hear this through the phone, So I was always taught that. So again, sometimes somebody says, "Why are you so passionate about this?" And I'm like, I am really passionate about this, or helping them build their business. Because it's fun. I love the podcast. Again, was an idea on a napkin, and all of a sudden, get my wife to buy into it, and she was just like, "Yeah, let's do it." And you get the support, and all of a sudden, it becomes a thing. I love when a client says, "Hey, look, I want to open up a towing company. I just bought a truck. I don't know what to do." It's like, all right, listen, and I give them a roadmap. That's very fulfilling for me to see them in a year. Like, I just bought 2 more trucks. Like I get off on that. and they hear that from me on the phone. I know Bo's like that too. We love like helping people. It's fun to help people. It's fun. We started a foundation because we like to help people so much. You know, where we the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation awards scholarships to. We did 2 scholarships so far to 2 kids. So you know we love it. Yeah. So you know just doing that kind of stuff is fun. But again, I think people. I get messages now like, "Hey man, keep on doing what you're doing. Hey, I donated $10. I donated $50. I love what you're doing. Keep it up." That is the payoff for me. There's a little bit of that. I call it selfish. There's a little tiny bit of selfishness in there because it makes me feel good. That's the selfish part. It makes me feel good, so I like to do it more. So, you know, again, it can translate to business, but at the same time, you know, I don't. You don't have. It doesn't have to be that. Jiu-jitsu doesn't have to be that for everybody. You could just like to go train. It just so happens that we found this little thing that we're bringing to the jiu-jitsu world. Now I'm trying to get Bo on the mat. I say we. I'm saying me. I got Bo a gi and a nice white belt, but he still hasn't. I don't think he's tried it on. Did you try it on when I wasn't here? No, he hasn't tried it on yet. No. Trying to get him on the mat. Let me ask you this, Alec. What would you be doing if you went back in time? What would you be doing if you had never found jiu-jitsu? Was there a life plan? Was there a job that you wanted to do? Where would you be?
I'm not quite sure. I think when I started jiu-jitsu, it was like it was something I needed to do. Like I needed to train martial arts. I needed that discipline. I don't really know where I was. Were you a bad
kid? Were you getting into trouble or?
No, I was pretty studious. Like I was really into school.
What did you need? What was that thing that you needed?
I think it was that structure, that discipline. I think I wasn't getting that at home, and it was just like I needed to be around guys, you know, like around guys and like pushing myself because I just wasn't getting that at home. And I think I knew when I started training martial arts, I was like, I already knew, like it clicked, like first day, like, okay, this is where I need to be and this is what I need to be doing. And I remember I got to a point in college. So I studied mathematics. So I got to a point where
that makes a lot of sense.
I got to a point where I was like, I had to make that decision. Like, okay, do I want to keep going on with this mathematics career or do I want to do jiu-jitsu? So for me, I was like, I think maybe junior year, senior year, I was like, man, which one do I want to do? And in college, I'd already I think I won purple belt rolls and pans or something. So I was already kind of decent. So I had to really take my time to figure out what I wanted to do. And I did take a break from jiu-jitsu when I started trying other things. But jiu-jitsu just kept coming back in my life. It was like a boomerang. I couldn't get away from it. I just kept coming back. I was trying to do something else.
Me back in.
Yeah, I was trying my best not to do jiu-jitsu, and it's like, man, I kept getting sucked back in.
I couldn't imagine.
Eventually, I just stopped fighting it, and I mean, sometimes things work out like that. You just can't if something's in your heart. That's how I think about it. If something's in your heart, man, like no matter how hard you fight, it's always going to be there.
Could you even imagine now at this point? Could you even imagine your life without jiu-jitsu, without touching it in some way, shape, or form?
No, because all the relationships I've made, all my friends, my family, it's completely just made my life better. So I can't imagine taking that away. I wouldn't be me. I would be somebody else.
Do you have family members that train as well? That got in before or even after you?
I haven't had them I've had a few family members try classes before.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, some of my lifelong friends I've made through jiu-jitsu. So I wouldn't have those relationships. So I there's no way I could not do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. For me, I mean, other than Bo, but he's attached to jiu-jitsu to the podcast. Everybody that I hang out with, go have a beer with, with the exception of wife's friends and couples through my wife, everybody that I know it's in some way, shape, or form, through jiu-jitsu. I have one friend in New York that, you keep in touch with everybody on Facebook, right? But that one friend that I see, the one friend from New York that I invited to my wedding, let's say, we were both bringing one friend. We did it on a cruise, so we invited one friend each, and there was one guy from New York. There's other guys that I love, but I just don't keep in touch with them. It's not the same. Everyone else is jiu-jitsu related.
Oh no, this is jiu-jitsu trip.
Yeah. And even I even had the little cake topper, my purple belt.
Oh wow!
As I told I asked for one thing from the wedding. I made one decision for the entire wedding. cake topper. I said, that's all I want. You can have whatever else you want. You make every decision. I'm going to smile and tell you yes for whatever you want. Give me the cake topper. And she made me a cake topper. So, my wife never understood the love of jiu-jitsu until she found kickboxing. She doesn't go to like one of those I Love Kickboxing. She goes to like, it's called Raw Kickboxing down here in South Florida in Coral Springs. And it's a little bit more serious. She doesn't do sparring. So, I mean, it's still like, okay. But it's like a lot of like CrossFit without the heavy weights. They're hitting bags and they're doing, cardio type exercises and they're lifting weights. She loves it. She fell in love with it. She's just like me. If she goes a weekend where she can't get to a class, like Saturdays and Sundays, I go to open match. She goes to her classes. If she doesn't go, we're different people when we don't go. We're not as happy. So I make sure she goes. I'll even put her, go. I'll take care of this. You go, because I know she needs it more. I get to train a little bit more during the week than she does. So she once she found that, she understands it now, and she's never gotten in the way of my jiu-jitsu training. That in the beginning when we were first dating, it was just like, really 2 hours. I would open my coach's gym. He was a Department of Homeland Security officer. But he was in there, what's it called? Internal Affairs. So he was like, investigating other officers. So sometimes he'd have to do stakeouts. And sometimes he'd call me, he said, listen, I need you to open the gym. I'm on the stakeout. I can't leave. You have to open the gym. So I'd leave work at 5, open the gym at 5:30, and I wouldn't get home till 9:30. I'd walk in the door. She'd be like, really? 4.5 hours? 5 hours? Really? Is it? But then again, she understood it, and then I kind of got the hours under control, stopped coaching, and then it was all better. Now home life is a lot better. But it took her understanding and finding that love that I found for it to get better like that, for her to really understand. So now she's like super supportive of the podcast. I think I got my first like from her on a video yesterday because we talk about it. I'm like, you don't even watch this stuff. I tell her I talk about you on every episode. You got to go watch this stuff. And so she's making a more of an active attempt. But I got a couple of other questions for you. We sometimes we call these speed round questions. I don't, you could one word answers are fine. You can elaborate. So gi or no gi? What's your go-to? What's your favorite?
I do both, 50-50.
No preference. There's no favorite child.
No, I like both because I do different things. I love grabbing the gi. I love the sleeves. I love the collar sleeve, lasso game. But then I also like the no gi game. Takedowns, the passing.
Toughest match ever?
Oh, I've had some tough ones. I had one in Abu Dhabi. It was brown belt, and I just I did it. I think it was absolute. I did it, and I was like, dude. Afterwards, I was like, I was dead. Like I had no more energy. I lost the match, but I also had no more energy. So,
do you remember who that was? Anybody famous?
I do not remember.
Anybody?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was good though. I don't remember.
Is that good? Other than achieving the rank of black belt, which obviously you've done already, what's your ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu?
I think for every gi competitor, it's the gi worlds have black belt. Inogi, obviously ADCC. I mean those are pretty lofty goals. Yeah. Outside of that, I think promoting jiu-jitsu. I have a lot of followers that don't train, so I think just showing a different side of jiu-jitsu, showing like a cool side, because it can be kind of off-putting. You have guys like Gordon Ryan, Craig Jones, they're cool and all, but is that who
they take it to the extreme? Yeah, they take it to the extreme.
Say you have a parent and you're trying to get their kids into training. You're not going to show them these guys, right? Just doesn't make any sense at all. Don't do it. They're not. They're like, well, no.
Sometimes I look at what these coaches put out, even, maybe it's their personal page and not the gym page. And I'm like, do you understand that if the parents of the children that you're training saw that video, you'd probably lose their business. Yeah. But they may not be following their personal page, but we in the jiu-jitsu world might follow each other, and you might be across the country. But sometimes I look at it and I go, what are these? They do realize that doesn't go away. That's forever. Even if you take it down, somebody grabs a snapshot of it. It just amazes me. There's one in particular that drives me nuts right now. I'm like, you're running a gym, you're trying to create a kids program, and you're posting that. This is what you're telling parents that this is this what they're going to get? Do they pay extra?
This is what your kid will become.
Do they pay extra for that? You know, so it's crazy. It's mind-boggling sometimes.
So I guess, just making jiu-jitsu not more mainstream, but just almost more marketable, right? Like making it more marketable for people to want to try it out and not be weirded out by,
I've asked a lot of competitors this question, like, are you someone that watches competitions? Do you like? I asked you before, and you said you watch a little bit more of the IBJJF, the tournament stuff. Do you think that jiu-jitsu could ever be, even spoken about in the same sentence as a UFC? Do you think it could be that big? Can it be marketed in a place? Combat jiu-jitsu, they're trying to make it a little bit more exciting. Submission Underground, they have their way of doing things and their rule set. Do you think jiu-jitsu could ever be like a big top 5 sport in the U.S., top 3 sport in the U.S.?
I mean, money-wise, there's no way. Not possible. Not possible. But I mean, jiu-jitsu is so intertwined with MMA. Like, you see these guys, they're always talking about jiu-jitsu. I remember Benny Darush fought recently, last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks.
And, they're talking about the fighters. They're BJJ world champion, great at no-gi. So I think that's the only way.
Though? I don't think it could stand alone. I believe it will get bigger. I believe as more people train, it'll get bigger. But I think because, like my father, I got my love of boxing from my dad, which led me to the UFC, which led me to jiu-jitsu. That stems from him watching boxing. He has now gotten into UFC in the last few years. But as soon as they go to a ground, what are you gonna lay on top of each other now? People just don't get it. And I try to tell them, I say, you don't understand what's going on right there. Do you know how hard it is for him to hold him in that position? Or, believe me, he's working towards a submission. I think that I don't think we're ever going to have an educated public because it's such an intricate sport. There's so many intricacies in the sport that it'll ever be a UFC. I believe it's like the minors to the majors that is UFC. Yeah, I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I just my own personal experience. It's just, I mean, even the more popular grappling forms, judo and wrestling, are not super popular or make a lot of money. I will say jiu-jitsu does seem to be like more as far as like making money. I feel like, there's more money in jiu-jitsu. There's more hobbyists in jiu-jitsu. But I just don't see people, buying like a big pay-per-view or anything. Maybe if they did like some type of, how like local MMA shows will have like kickboxing and then MMA. Yeah, maybe they can have a combat something. Yeah. I don't know.
That's kind of what, now that, I don't know, quote unquote retired, I'll do air quotes, is Gordon retired or he's taking a leave? But I mean, that's what he was going to do in one championship, which was he was going to be doing, I think they were calling it cage wrestling or cage grappling. It was, I'm going to be in this MMA organization, but we're going to be doing, just the grappling, which I'm not a historian of where one championship came from, but I do believe they had some of their start in wrestling. They did do some of the other martial arts, and they have been known for that, which I didn't really know. But they are mixing it in. I do think you're right. I'm agreeing with you that if they're going to do something like that, and we can get it more popular. And the thing is, again, it's like, all right, I'm going to watch this MMA match. I'm going to watch these guys kick and punch each other. Oh, they went to the ground. Now they're doing their jiu-jitsu. Okay, next fight, it's just this one piece. I don't think that that's as exciting. I don't think that that becomes as marketable as, well, let's do everything. No, well, why don't we just have them kick each other and punch each other as well? Yeah. Let's take out the two of the most exciting parts of it and just give you the one. I don't know if that works. I don't know if it works long term.
No, I think it it's got to be through MMA. Yeah. So like, you see like guys like Buchecha, Mackenzie Dern, Damian Maya. I think Jacare. Sorry, Jacare.
I mean, you got Tone. I mean, you did have Tonin.
Tonin, yeah.
Tonin is in one championship. You had Gordon was following him, but now he's sick. I know I've been watching Craig Jones fight with some MMA fighters recently, so I'm like, okay, is he going to do the same thing? So he's been putting on gloves. He got tuned up by by some Russian fighter the other day. It was kind of fun. He made a little bit of a joke about it. You're not the biggest fan of Craig Jones?
No, I'm just saying. I just know jiu-jitsu guys can't strike, so
yeah,
I'm just like, yeah.
I find him funny as it relates to like Gordon. Like Gordon is out there. I never really loved this stuff and followed him a lot. I think it's a little bit more for the adults, but I think Craig Jones is funny. He was talking about recently. He's like, we finally poisoned Gordon Ryan. We've poisoned him slowly. Now we've got him out of the way. Like he makes really stupid jokes like that. So I do kind of find him funny. But I mean, taking pictures of your naked ass and now they're in the fight to wins. There are kids watching that. He's in one of those. He's in like a CBD commercial. At the fight to wins, it's actually it goes up on the monitors and it's him. There's a popular video of him or a picture of him. He took a picture of himself in the mirror and it's him naked. And that made it into the fight to win. So it's like, yeah, that's too much for me. I'm a father of 2 girls. That's too much for me.
There's even kids on the card too. A lot of times.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think these guys like they want to make it big. I mean, most of the jiu-jitsu people I know have transitioned pretty well. As long as they makes MMA seriously, like they've done pretty well. But I just don't see jiu-jitsu by itself really. I mean, it's been even like ADCC, like these are like passion projects. IBJJF makes the money, but they don't give it to the fighters. But ADCC is like a passion project. So I think it's always going to be that small niche. It's somehow cool and mainstream, but like there's just not that money.
It's mainstream to us too, though, right? It's like if you know jiu-jitsu, it's just like, you kind of know what's coming, when the events are coming up. And, like I'm excited. I know there's an event tonight. I think, is it Who's Number One tonight, right?
It's a big one, yeah.
Yeah,
big
this
one.
is, and I know Wagner's fighting. Craig Jones is on this one too. Yeah, Craig Jones is fighting.
I believe they are fighting together.
Craig Jones is fighting.
Panza.
Yeah, right. Luis Panza, who was supposed to fight Gordon, he's taking Gordon's spot essentially.
Wagner's fighting Josh Singer.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be fun. I mean, those are going to be fun fights to watch. But again, we know about those. If I told my dad, "Hey, come watch," no, he's not coming to watch the Who's Number One.
But if it was MMA, like it could easily, like, all right, guys, put these gloves on. Like, all right,
a little bit more exciting, So, all right. So, biggest regret as it relates to jiu-jitsu. Do you have any?
Probably staying in training at academies that I shouldn't have stayed at out of loyalty and other feelings. Because there's times where like maybe it was better to move, instead of like trying to stay and just like kind of grind out a living.
But there's no politics in jiu-jitsu, so I mean every school is awesome.
Yeah, every school's awesome.
The hell did you smoke?
Were there any reasons you could talk about like that you stayed at a gym or why you left the gyms?
A lot of times it was loyalty. You get your belts. Students look up to their instructors, and especially young students. So I mean, if they tell you to do something, you're probably gonna do it. I see a lot of young guys like they're probably doing things they normally would not do. But say you take them out of their homes, and they're in a different country, different state, and then like whoever's influencing them, has a lot of power over them. Yeah. So. I think for myself, just being able to think for myself and make better decisions. A lot of times you think your instructor always has the right intentions for you. Sometimes they don't,
jiu-jitsu instructors are not like, haven't gone most of the time, maybe haven't gone to college. They're not trained in how to deal. Now, some might be, but aren't necessarily trained on how to deal with kids. And like you're a guidance counselor, you're a therapist, somebody gets hurt, you're EMS, you're the paramedic guy, right? So some of these gyms, I think that parents don't realize that sometimes, hey, you're dropping your kid off just because this person is X belt, whatever, blue, brown, purple, whatever it is, it doesn't make them necessarily super incredibly qualified to be dealing with your kids. They can teach them jiu-jitsu, but there's a lot that goes on there. They need some guidance. Sometimes I know in my gym specifically, my team, I think my coaches are incredible. They take continuing ed classes. They do things to make themselves better. But sometimes the kids are more scared of Felipe disappointing him with bad grades or getting in trouble than their own parents. So I do think that sometimes there's some gyms like you're dropping your kid off for an hour, 2 hours, aftercare programs. Do you really know what those people know? Have you really looked at their credentials and things like that? You know, I don't think that most people think that far down the road. I do, as being someone that's been in a gym, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'd want that guy next to, you know, taking care of my kid, you know.
But not even just kids, like adults, you know, a lot of adults, you know, they put a lot of trust in their instructors, and, you know, they can be blinded by their loyalties. So,
yeah.
For me, yeah, I wish I didn't make any major mistakes. Thank God.
I was going to say, I wanted to dig a little bit. I didn't know, I didn't know how personal it was, you know, but it sounds like you had these experiences. Is there anything that you could talk about, like a very specific, you don't have to name names, but where you had a very specific, because there could be somebody out there listening going, oh, wow, I'm going through that now. And you know, maybe I'm blinded by my coach and my loyalty. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the word loyalty to my coach, you know?
Yeah, nothing specific, but just, you know, things I've experienced and things I've seen. Just people making life decisions based off their coaches and like where they're training and
Okay. All right. I mean,
I think and that kind of goes on social media too. Like, don't just follow people because they, you know, they have a lot of followers. Doesn't mean what they're saying or doing is right. You know, just be able to like criticize, you know.
I'm definitely, I don't want to say I'm quick to, but very conscious. I like positivity. And I probably have to say, you know, again, I think Gordon Ryan is super talented, but when it comes to when I see a post, the going back and forth with somebody or trying to tear into somebody, I don't really like that. So I'll go past it. I don't like negativity. So I'm quick to get rid of those people from my feed. I kind of take the Joe Rogan approach. Like, I don't forget the exact wording that he uses, but I'll definitely clean out my feed. I want to see positive things. I like I want puppy videos and jujitsu. I want puppies, little kittens, and things that are going to make me smile, and cool jujitsu videos and people being positive. I like to look at somebody like you and say, look at what he's doing with this. You know, again, hats off to you. Watch your videos. You're always smiling. You're always informative. You know, you look like you're having fun at what you do. You know that you know the topic that you're speaking about. And that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on from way back when I originally message you, is I like that. You seem like a very positive person, and that you're the kind of person that I know if I had kids doing jiu-jitsu, I'd be like, yeah, follow. These are the people that you should be following. And you're definitely on that list, you know?
I also, like, for me, I also don't want to shy away from like important topics too. So like, I mean, some topics are like, man, it's rough to like, I got some like podcasts coming up where like some of the stuff, we're talking about is like not the nicest stuff. So
yeah. Outside of jiu-jitsu, like topics outside of jiu-jitsu, or jiu-jitsu
related to jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So I mean, but I feel like, just for myself personally, if I feel strongly about something, like I don't mind like kind of taking a stance on something.
Yeah.
But also I've been on social media for a long time, so I've kind of developed like that thick skin.
Yeah.
And, I can take it.
Do you get into the comments on your own stuff? Do you get into the comments on a YouTube video? Because there's always going to be some a-hole that's going to, say something stupid or make a comment.
I mean, I post regularly on Reddit, so I think that's helped me
keep you thick-skinned. It's tough over there.
Reddit's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Reddit is fun, yeah.
I usually don't respond too often to the comments as much. If my friends are commenting, I'll give them some fire.
I know that's you.
Raise hands or something like that. But yeah, I don't read too many comments like I used to. I used to be in the comments. Some of the stuff is just like there's too many comments.
You can get caught up too. You can not only get caught up in the amount of comments, but you can get caught up in the emotion of like, oh man, I want to say something to this person. I've taken I post, I'll delete negative comments if they're there. We're not that big. We're not as big as you, but we, I like positivity. I'll even run contests every once in a while, give away a shirt, go say something nice on YouTube, comment on this video. I always say, be nice. And, so why not be positive? It's easier to be positive. It takes a lot more energy to be an asshole.
I mean, sometimes, the comments, they might not be nice, but there might be like valid points. So for me, like, I don't delete comments unless it's like, this is bad. This is like, this is terrible. Okay. but I'll leave the negative comments. You can go on some of my posts and you'll see some comments that like aren't too nice to me. But I think just growing up without social media, and I kind of feel like I have a healthier take on it. So I don't like take too many things personally. I'm not emotionally invested in how people kind of take my content too much. But that might be different for someone younger. Like that might be like,
I mean, really these kids coming up now, I mean, they've lived their lives with and on social media, meaning, right, they're looking at other people's stuff, but they're putting themselves out there as well. I mean, it's just a different world. I have a 27-year-old daughter who is, on her own, lives in Virginia, is a teacher. Great, love it. Then I have my stepdaughter is 17. Luckily, she just she consumes, but she doesn't post a lot at all. She just likes to be on TikTok watching the videos, but she doesn't put a lot of stuff out there. She barely posts on Instagram. So which is I think is a blessing, because if she was putting herself out there and opening herself up to that, these idiots, at her school or wherever, like, opening herself up to ridicule, she just did that on her own. It wasn't us coaching her. She's just like, I like to look. I'm not worried about posting myself. So got lucky there. So I don't have to deal with it, but I can't imagine what these kids go through psychologically, or what they'll continue to go through when they get older, having your entire life, you say like you could look back at videos when you were in Sweden and where you've been. I mean, I can't imagine somebody documenting their whole
unless they're making
life.
money. Unless they're making money.
Well, yeah, if you're making money, but Matt, documenting your life, and again, opening yourself up to ridicule. Kids can be cruel, right? We all know that.
When they're making money, they don't care.
Yeah. The TikTokers are a little different, though. All right, I got one more question for you, but first, anybody you want to give any shout outs to? You have any sponsors you want to say? This is your time.
No, just shout out to my friends. My friends Pedro and Derek in Kissimmee, Florida, Nikes BJJ. My friends Quan, June, Lakea. These are all the guys you see on my podcast.
Oh yeah,
my buddies. My buddies Jeff Cummings, cousin Tony.
What's the title of your BJ your BJJ
cousin,
fanatics?
Cousin Dave. Everybody with cousin in their name, they're from New Jersey, New York. So like cousin Tony. Hey Tony.
What's the title of your video? Do you have more than one instructional on BJJ Fanatics? You have a couple, right?
BJJ Fanatics, I have Keeping the Guard.
That was the first one, right? Keeping the Guard was the first one. That's the one that I know.
I have my own self-produced ones. Short Guy Guard.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Also Bridging the Gap between gi and no gi.
And can we find those all on BJJ Fanatics?
You can find just the one on BJJ Fanatics.
Okay. All right.
The one, Short Guy Guard, probably the easiest one to find.
Okay.
That's some good marketing on my part. Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
I was going to say, I get like the Google announcements, when someone searches something. Yeah. So like Short Guy Guard also sounds very similar to like short guard, or like guard, like in like basketball. So
okay.
I always get like all these weird little updates and stuff. But yeah, Short Guy Guard, easy, super easy. Marketing wise, that was like, I think I'm not going to ever beat that name.
There's some point guard out there trying to pull somebody into his guard.
It's
like, what is this? What am I doing?
I'm a short point guard. Where is the video at?
All right. Okay. So we got our last question. We call this the most important question anybody could ever answer in their entire jiu-jitsu career. This is the big one. We saved it for last. Do you wash your gi belt?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Team wash your belt.
So one of those old car videos was about washing the gi belt.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, that gets stinky, dude. Watch that thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Watch it.
We just had this little internal. Again, we started this podcast with about 5. There were 5 of us, rotated in and out, but it was a core, maybe 3 or 4 of us, and COVID again shook things up. But that's always I was the only belt washer of everyone. I come into the house, I throw my gi into the wash most times, or I throw it into a pile. I throw the belt, and I wash it. Maybe not every single time, but I've washed it. So I was the odd man out. Most people, though, that we talk to, especially now after COVID, they're washing their belt. So you're a team wash your belt. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, get Well, I guess a black belt, we have like multiple belts. So like,
Yeah.
man, just wash it, dude. Stinky. I don't want any stinky stuff
You're
on
not
me.
washing away your skill. You're not washing it
No.
away. All right, Alec, listen, thank you very much for doing this. I know we tried to get you on a while back, and we needed to do it during the week. If you're ever
Was it last year? What was it last year we tried? Or?
I think it was probably towards the beginning of 2021.
Okay.
But it was, I knew we were getting into the studio, a lot of things were going on. Once we got to the studio, I knew that I'd be able to film a little bit every once in a while, in the evenings during the week, or just take a day here or there. Listen, you're not the only one. There are a lot of guys that are like, man, listen, I'm traveling, I'm training, I run a school on Saturdays, just can't do it. So it was a long time coming, but I appreciate you doing this, man. Thank you. And again, if you're ever in Miami, please let us know you're going to be here if you want to come in the house. And again, we do these little jiu-jitsu roundtables and we shoot the shit. It's a little less interview style, and we just talk about jiu-jitsu and make fun of each other.
Yeah, I might have to visit. I've been in Naples a few times. I guess it's not too far.
The other side. We're on the other side.
Yeah.
That was what is it? About 2 hours across?
No, it's like an hour and 15 minutes.
An hour and 15. Okay, yeah.
You guys got any fishing over there?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, you kidding me? Yeah, it's incredible.
Okay, I did the golf. I went fishing last time. It was really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let us know if you want to do some DC fishing.
This chart what kind of fish do you have over there?
Like sailfish, right? You got
everything
grouper.
Okay,
grouper, dolphin, like the dolphin, actual the regular. Not that dolphin. It's like
mahi.
It's mahi, but it's actually the name of the fish is dolphin. But yeah, that's there's some really good fishing down here. Like you can canal fish for bass down here in like the freshwater canals,
and
like all the runoff.
Bass. We have peacock.
No,
bass.
I want the real fish.
Yeah, no, those you toss back. You're not eating. The ones in the canals,
bass.
they're mixed with like the oil from the cars and the runoff. And
no. There's some good spots for freshwater bass, peacock bass, which are amazing.
Yeah,
great to eat and killer fighters.
Yeah, there's some good fishing down here, and a lot of. There's a lot of catch and, but you can go out on a boat. It's either catch and release or, you're going to, take some back and,
or just
they'll
take
clean
a
them
charter
up for
boat
you.
out here. Take a charter boat and you go fishing for
Let us know
6
when you're here,
hours.
man. Go for a roll and go do some fishing and talk some jiu-jitsu, man. Let us know. We'd love to have you in house. All right, man?
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alec. Appreciate it, man.
All right. I'm going to leave out.
All right. Take care, man. We'll talk to you soon. Later.
Peace.
Everybody, stick around for a second. We're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Appreciate you guys. Nice guy, right? Right, Bo?
Very cool. Very cool guy. Good disposition.
If you ever decide to do jiu-jitsu, which it doesn't look like
I want to go fishing.
Yeah, he's definitely someone to watch. He has great basics to advanced moves. He does a really good job at explaining stuff. And again, for me, very consumable in Instagram clips. He does, I think, his 1 to 3 minutes. So really cool. All right, guys. As always, check out the foundation link, the Jiu Jitsu Dummies foundation link in the description in the podcast audio or on YouTube. But you can just go to @Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, click the link in the bio, and you can. Which camera am I on?
You're on it. You're on it.
You can just go to @Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, click the link in the bio, and you can find everything that we do and all the ways you can support or get involved. If you donate $50 to the foundation, you can have your choice of a cool mug like you see on the table there, a foundation mug, or we'll have Flow and Roll send you an embroidered belt. Okay. Shout out to our Patreon podcast patrons. Did I say that right? Patreon podcast patrons. Say that 5 times fast.
Say it once fast.
Including our I still can't do it. Including our gym sponsors, Carlson Gracie Winter Haven in Winter Haven, Florida. Check them out at cgwinterhaven.com, at Carlson Gracie Winter Haven on Instagram. You can also check out our boys down here in South Florida, Carlson Gracie Broward County in North Lauderdale, CarlsonGracieBrowardCounty.com, at Carlson Gracie Broward County on Instagram. John Way Martial Arts in Plantation, Florida as well. JohnWayMartialArts.com, at John Way Martial Arts on Instagram. All right. Our podcast patrons also include Robert Walker, Frank House, Wolsey Rivera. I see you, Wolsey. I see you posting. Boa Athletics, at BOA_athletics on Instagram. Michael Pixley Jr., Jason Smiley, Britt Tavar, Just lost my spot. James Fisher, CJ Carroll, Mission 22, Chuck Reddoor, and Roberto Santiago. Appreciate you all for supporting the show. If you'd like to support us, you make a pledge of $5 or more per month. You can visit us at patreon.com/Jiu Jitsu Dummies, and you'll automatically be entered to win up to $100 in Jiu Jitsu swag every month. And you guys know it's either a gi from Flow and Roll, a $100 gift card to the podcast store, or some Fight Back CBD. Whatever our sponsors are willing to put up, there's always something for you guys. Okay. Also, if you do submit questions to the show and we use them, you're in that pool as well. All right, check out the podcast store at jiujitsudummies.shop. Get 15% off with code JJD. We have rash guards, tees, backpacks, coffee mugs, free shipping. Free shipping on orders over $50. Yep, sorry, had to do it. We want to thank We Defy Foundation for all their support and all they do for the veteran and jiu-jitsu community. As you guys probably already know, they provide therapeutic relief to disabled combat veterans through jiu-jitsu. Check them out at We Defy Foundation on Instagram, or you can donate anytime at wedefyfoundation.org. Fightback CBD, we love you guys. Get 20% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. Last but not least, you can support us or support the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation on Amazon Smile. Just go to Amazon, go to your settings, you switch it out to Amazon Smile. Your shopping experience is exactly the same. Amazon donates a little bit to the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation, and everything else is the same for you, so you can support us that way as well. All right, I'm at Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram. Bo, you got anything to add? You good? I'm going to get you in that gi soon. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here. It's waiting for you. It's calling you.
I stand there and I look at it.
Yeah.
From across the room.
All right, everybody.
In the dark.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Us.